Hi everyone, welcome to another video of mine. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day, and today I will be taking you on a walk in Albert Park in Melbourne. So before it was a park, before the lake was carved, and before roads wrapped around it for the Grand Prix, the place was a wetland. The Yellow Kit Willam people of the Boon Wurrung moved through the area for tens of thousands of years. The land was full of reeds, bird life, and seasonal food sources. It was a place of relationship, not recreation. When colonists arrived in the 1800s, the wetlands were seen differently, as something that can be controlled and reshaped. By the year 1864, the Victorian government reserved the area for public parkland. Over the next few decades, the land was filled, shaped, dredged, and reshaped again until a large ornamental lake emerged. And it became the Albert Park Lake that we know today. The transformation wasn't just environmental, it changed the cultural purpose of the land for generations. Albert Park today is a living cross-section of Melbourne. At dawn, it belongs to runners. You'll see them running and circling the lake, some gliding, some running not as fast, and some racing as well. A little later, as you can see coming up in the video, you'll see rowers gliding across the water and on the lake, and their oars tapping in perfect unison. There are also cyclists that zip around the lake. Casual walkers stroll slowly, strolling in the views of the skyline across the water. Nearby, you will be able to visit the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre, shortened to MSAC. There will be kids splashing in the aquatic centre while the late swimmers train lanes away. On the nearby ovals, you will see soccer teams warm up for matches, parents sip coffee, and frisbees flying across the park. It does get busy, but it never feels chaotic. You can sit here on the grass and read a nice book and spend hours just relaxing. Once a year, Albert Park hosts the Australian Formula One Grand Prix. For one long weekend in March, usually Labor Day, the park transforms into a global sports arena. You may have seen the Australian Grand Prix on your television, so that is hosted in Melbourne. So, work crews build grandstands and fences. That is close to when Grand Prix starts. Helicopters have hover and tens of thousands of people flood in. For many, it is the highlight of the Melbourne sporting calendar. While for others, it is a weekend they avoid the suburb. And I have actually been to Formula One many years ago with a couple of friends of mine. I actually don't remember who won, but I think it was at least 14 years ago, or coming up to 14 years ago, that I went with a friend of mine, and we had a great time over there. Of course, it was really noisy, and I had to wear earplugs and standing up for a few hours as well. So Albert Park has surprisingly an amount of birds and wildlife. The lake attracts black swans, pelicans, coots, ducks, cormorants, fish, and eels. And there is surprisingly a lively community of tiny creatures living in the reed beds of the park. The park is coming up here. You can see. So environmental teams monitor the water quality constantly. Algae blooms, stormwater runoff, invasive fish species. Those are the issues that affect the lake. The lake isn't natural, so it requires human care to remain healthy. So Albert Park isn't just a place; it's a rhythm of everyday life. So this place is actually nice. On that day, I actually did 17,000 steps, so it's actually not a bad day for me. But I did get tempted and had a hot chocolate. So that sort of made up for that. So Parks Victoria has actually been working on upgrades, including more native plantings, safer paths for bikes and pedestrians, and better water management, and long-term plans for climate resilience. Albert Park isn't frozen in time, it's evolving, just like Melbourne. So Albert Park is a park that's shaped by culture, nature, sport and community. A place where the city breathes, where traditions collide with new ideas, and where anyone can, on a given day, can find a moment of calm. So if you're ever in Melbourne, please come to the park during any time of the year, even in summer and winter. I would highly recommend coming here. If you're a fan of the Grand Prix, please do come in March. There are plenty of hotels nearby the park which you can actually stay at, or if you're on a higher floor, you can actually have great views of the park and of the Formula One as well. And this place is actually nice. So I think there's a few 100,000 people that actually come and visit the Grand Prix every year, and it actually does get really, really busy around that time when the Formula One is on. And if it's really quiet, I can actually hear the cars race from my place. So that actually does get that loud. So if you're taking public transport, there are plenty of trams that go along St. Kilda Road, and it's just a short walk from Albert Park. Or if you prefer, you can also take the number 96 tram, which goes from St. Kilda Beach to East Brunswick. Also, if you're short of time, etc., only like a day in Melbourne or a few days in Melbourne, I would highly recommend taking the number 96 tram I'd recommend getting on at Southern Cross Station. Then your first stop would be the South Melbourne Market. Then you can come to Albert Park, then go to St. Kilda. You can spend half a day in St. Kilda, then come here for a walk, then go to the South Melbourne Markets. So that's pretty much one day in Melbourne. Actually, not a bad idea for me. I may do that as a video later on, just spending a day in Melbourne and what you can expect. But I have done a video on St. Kilda Beach, so please also check it out as well. I haven't done a video on the South Melbourne Market as yet, but I'm planning to, just not sure exactly when. That's when the weather is good and not too hot and not too cold. And it is Christmas time, so it's extremely busy around this time of year. I think after Christmas I will actually do something. So if you are visiting Melbourne and are staying, just please come and spend some time here. You can see there's quite a few people running and along the water's edge. You can see a couple of birds down there feeding on some worms. The lake is actually quite nice. You can also see a swan there. You would have seen a car pass just a couple of minutes ago. Is where the Formula 1 racetrack is. At least part of it anyway. So it does go around the lake. And you can see on the other side of the lake, you can see quite a number of buildings as well, which includes like offices, residential, and there's a lot of people actually live and work. So a lot of people actually before or after work come here for exercise, or during work come here and have lunch and relax at the park. And then there are actually quite a few people walking their dogs, and there are also groups of people walking together like a fitness club or walking club, etc. So this is actually quite a nice place. I actually don't come here that often, but I would actually like to just go for a full lap around the lake and just enjoy it. So on the way to Melbourne Airport, like if I get an Uber or drive, I actually come past here, come past this lake, come past Albert Park. It's actually quite a nice drive. So, on one side of the park, it's this called Queen's Road, and that is a major thoroughfare in Melbourne that goes like from the southeastern suburbs where I am, that goes to Melbourne Airport as well. That actually takes us also on the way to the airport. So that actually, come here quite a number of times on the way to Melbourne Airport. But if I take the public transport, I don't come down this side to go to the airport when I'm plane sporting, etc. It gets too expensive if I have to go all the time taking an Uber just for every day. Every day, or every week, taking an Uber to the airport. So it's about a lot of money to spend, which is why I take public transport to the airport when I'm doing plane sporting. I'll leave you for the rest of the video. So I hope you enjoy it. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And also please leave a like and a comment as well. As you can see, there's quite a lot of birds as well. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. And again, please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And also please leave a like and comment.